This segment of Long Island Talks on LongIsland.com is brought to you by Bagel of the Month Club, powered by Bagel Boss. Hi, it's Kevin Wood back at you with Long Island Talks on LongIsland.com, and we're continuing our series, Chefs in a Pandemic. We've been mostly staying east. We're going to talk to some Western Nassau chefs next week. Right now, I have with me a gentleman who I've seen at many food events, specifically Dan's events is where I met him. His food is spectacular. His personality's better. Peter Ambrose, how are you? Thank you for coming on today.
Good. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Talk to me, man. How you feeling? I always ask everybody during this time, how you feeling? How's the family? How's everything going?
Family's good. You know, hanging in there, adjusting,
Yeah.
trying to predict and wonder, what this summer will bring or fall will bring, and planning for whatever it may be.
Absolutely. So bring us through your regular life as a chef. I mean, I think you're a little bit different than the guys I've been talking to who are set in restaurants. You're an events guy, right?
Yes, we do a lot of weddings, galas, large beach parties, backyard parties. So my hat will change, depending on, time of season, type of event. I deal directly with a lot of my brides, a lot of the coordinators at the different fundraisers. Like this year, we were to be doing the Waxman event. We would be doing St. Jude's, working at the Parish Art Museum, things like that. So that requires a lot of planning with rentals, behind the scenes tents, staff, whatever it might be.
So you
In
must do a
addition
lot.
to the menus and stuff.
Mhm. So you must do a collaboration with, like you said, 10 companies, servers, all that whole, if you will, team of people that come upon an event. And I mean, let's face it, Long Island's known for their beautiful events, the East End particularly, and then of course, like, give me an idea. Are you serving anywhere from like 10 people to 100,
We'll
200?
do dinner parties from 10, and last year the biggest event we did probably was 600 people.
Wow. So
Yeah.
if you're pulling up to 600 people, are you kind of setting things up under a tent and just commanding that whole situation? Is that under your direction?
Yeah, that would be, I
Wow.
have a very good team underneath me, some only as good as the people that work for me. But yeah, we oversee everything, coordinate everything. Been doing it a long time. Enjoy that. Enjoy the stress of that, and
Um,
the
mhm.
and
The
it's
stress.
just the and the bumps in the road that you hit while you're doing that. Anyone who tells you that they don't have mistakes or make mistakes when they do event catering, they're foolish. It was coming next. I'd rather have the guy who's made the mistakes and figured out how to
No
smooth them
doubt.
over. It's a little
You
bit of the wizard behind the curtain. As long as what goes on out front is fine, you keep the bumps to the behind the curtain.
I think that's why I'm attracted to guys like you. Not only do I end up eating some great food with you, but you're real people, and for you to say that, and by the way, every other chef I've talked to have said basically the same thing, that almost like you enjoy the challenge, you expect things not to go right, but
Yes.
you're up to the challenge, which I think is amazing. And then like at 1 o'clock in the morning, you must be like, oh God, how did we do it? But we did it.
Yeah, exactly. And I always say to myself, the day's going to end. No matter how daunting of an event we might take on or multiple events, it's one day.
Yeah.
It's going to end. And thank God, knock on marble, because that's what in front of me. They usually end more often than not very well.
You can knock on me. My last name's Wood.
All right.
So I'm
Deal.
talking to you. I'm talking to you in Sag Harbor now. Have you always lived there? Have you always lived on the East
Yes,
End?
yes. Grew up in Sag Harbor. Dad was an East Hampton school teacher. Mom grew up locally in Sag Harbor, and I've been here my whole life. Yes.
What attracted you to the food business?
I mean, I think it was innate as family wise. Both my grandmothers were, great in the kitchen. My mom and my grandfather and grandmother on my father's side opened, which I think is the Blend right now on 3 Mile Harbor Road. They had that as a blood and guts bar back in the 50s and 60s, and fed their clientele more to keep them upright and drinking more than necessarily a restaurant. But it was a little bit in the blood. And my father in the early 80s started doing clam bakes in the summer to supplement his, school teaching. And I kind of fell into that. Didn't go to culinary school. My sister did. She was kind of the chef behind the scenes at first and stuff.
Mm.
And she went and moved away. And I kind of, out of necessity, had to learn how to cook. And I turned out to be pretty good at it. I have a good palate. I get a good heart for it. And I think that's the two things you couldn't be taught anyway. So
Awesome. How have things changed on the East End in terms of food? I mean, in some respects, it's gotten really better because of provisioning with the local farms, which I don't think was as prevalent 20, 30 years ago. Has it, but let me not put words in your mouth. Has it changed for the better?
Yeah, 100%.
Good.
100%. I don't think you could have a better wedding or a better event than a September wedding on Eastern Long Island, because it's corn and tomatoes and striped bass and, bell peppers and just the most amazing, fresh, great ingredients. You can't, you just steer the ship, you know what I mean? Just don't drive into the wall. Just get the great ingredients and go with it.
That's a good point.
And
Yeah.
like I said, I think the connection with the farmers and the chefs, and also right now the connection with the fishermen locally, dealing directly with restaurants, dealing directly with caterers. So you're not sticking something in a box on Tuesday, sending it to Manhattan, having it turn around and come back to where it originated from.
Yeah.
Somebody got smart and realized if you cut the middleman out a little bit, sometimes there you could get a better product, and the fisherman and the farmer can maybe get a little bit more money for their product too.
Really good
You
point.
know,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So we're 5 or 6 weeks into this, probably more than 6 weeks into COVID-19. How has your life professionally changed? By this time, I would think you'd be looking at your May calendar going, we got this, and this, but there's so many unknowns. So you tell me, how have things changed in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, I'm a little surprised that May is only 10 days away, because we would obviously 5th of May, 10th of May is usually when our season does start to begin. A lot of those clients were year-to-year clients, so I may not have heard from them 6 weeks ago. They would probably expect me to know that they were calling, so we've been touching base and realizing that the Memorial Day party hopefully could maybe be a July 4th party, or it might be Labor Day. Brides are getting a little nervous. Any of our June brides all pretty much have a September hold on venues, things like
Amazing.
that. I spoke to
Amazing.
somebody today who went from having one wedding in October, and the rest spread out. Now they have 15 in October. Um, you know,
Unbelievable.
so if you're able to find some a venue and secure them a venue, people are moving are backing up their
So,
weddings.
so with these changes, are you now kind of concentrating on different aspects of your business? Like, for example, something you have tonight. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I a couple weeks ago, just I think kind of keep people's spirits up and also to stay relevant. We did a paella class on Zoom. We had like 10 or 11 people chime in, all made paella, and followed me along, and everybody enjoyed it a lot. Since then, we've done maybe 4 or 5 other different videos. One of comments this week, things that people could store in the fridge, do their home recipes, and just add our things to it. And it's been a great response. And you realize with social media how quickly things get out there and go to other people. I'd say in the last 2 weeks, I've gotten, hundreds of likes, on my professional Facebook page. As far as my personal page, like, friend requests, like mad, so I think staying relevant is very
Good.
important.
Yes, and you're
I
doing it.
plan on doing this for, another 20 years, whatever it is, out of necessity, out of choice, because I do love it. So I think who remains relevant and who remains positive are going to be who, at the end of this, are going to be able to continue forward and see their business come back to what it was, and hopefully reach heights that it hadn't reached before.
Absolutely.
Um, I do collaborate with couple other companies that target Nassau and even in New Jersey. So we've all come together and we're doing a food to go. Um, so we can make more of the same type of things, cover a bigger area, support each other a little bit as far as staff and things like that. And it's not something that we ever thought we could monetize before. And we're realizing now, maybe when our regular business comes back, this can be a spin-off of it and an additional revenue source. We're working on some boxes now where maybe you get a Pete Ambrose taco box and you'll get 2 or 3 proteins ready for you to go. We haven't decided yet whether they're going to give you instructions on how to grill it. It's going to come grilled and maybe with, sauces and aiolis and things like that, a barbecue box, a steak box, whatever it might be. And again, things that hopefully will come out of necessity, but will stay on and be staples of our business, moving forward.
Yeah, new
Uh,
inventions because of
yeah,
necessity is what we're talking about.
right.
How about
Exactly.
locally with chefs? Either name names or you don't have to name names. Any stories about either collaboration or not so good stories where places that are well known have had to close and they don't know of their future. What are you hearing out there?
I mean, I think as far as restaurants, you're hearing more in New York City about what's happening with some major restaurants deciding to or happening to close. Locally, I kind of feel in the last 2 or 3 weeks, there's been more silence. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I really don't know. Maybe it's the new normal. I do think, I think, in my opinion, those who planned on being in this for the long haul are figuring out ways how to be in it for the long haul. If you're the guy who's put your money away, we're thinking about it was time to move on anyway, you're not going to blow
Not
through your
worth it to come back.
savings.
Right.
Yeah, you're going to move up your plans a little bit and move on. Hopefully, that means the landscape's going to change some. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
More. Not. Hopefully, maybe in a better way. I don't know.
Absolutely.
We'll see.
Absolutely.
We'll see.
I think it's kind of smart of you. Not that you probably even thought about this before this, but that the fact that you don't have a large building overhead, rent, electricity, all that, that seems to be a positive right now, because when it comes back, you'll just come back and it's within your hands, so to speak. So I think that's pretty cool, actually.
Right, correct. And the other thing is, as far as wedding and galas moving, and where we're picking up some business, is that there's venues and caterers, because they're brick and mortar,
Right.
they only can do so many events. They can do an event in a day. So we've reached out to some brick and mortars and reached out, some venues that we have relationships with, and offered, referral fees, and said, hey, listen, if you have a bride looking to move to a certain date, we'll give you a 50% referral, whatever it might be. So you're not losing, totally out, because we are able to do multiple events in a day and do have some areas we can put tents up, and venues we work with, we can accommodate, these bride and grooms who are now looking for another location.
Yeah, again, we're seeing the silver lining in your business. Thank you for
Mm-hmm.
sharing that. Again, Kevin Wood here, LongIsland.com, talking to Chef Ambrose, Peter Ambrose in Sag Harbor, just really talking about what he's going through in his profession and where he's going from here. Peter is also in the education business of cooking, which is really cool. You have a class tonight. Tell us what you might be teaching and making, and maybe we can see a little bit into your kitchen and how you operate.
Yeah, I mean, what we've been trying to do is I do dishes that I think people will be able to execute. I always talk about in catering, we don't always have a set kitchen. It's, we're setting up, we're breaking down. So we need to create dishes that, feel like a high wire act, but maybe aren't as difficult as they appear. So I thought those are things that people can bring into their home kitchen, and, things that maybe we do or dishes they've had at restaurants or at catering events, and they'd be happily and pleasantly surprised that they can execute it, in their home and
Yeah,
things like that.
I feel that way when I get in the kitchen. I don't want to go over my head, because then I'll just say, screw it. So I
Yeah,
think it's important to make it obtainable.
right,
Cool.
right.
All right, so let's set up. Let's see if you can set up and show us a little magic.
Okay, all right, perfect.
So, Chef, you're in your kitchen, which means you're most comfortable, I'm quite sure. And it's a glorious Friday here. What are you going to be showing us today? What are you going to make?
We've been making a lot of condiments lately. So one that we're really known for, and we've done a lot, is a chimichurri. And it's just kind of a real simple few ingredient dish that we make, which is parsley, oregano, garlic, some spices, salt, and vinegar. It's great dish that we're known for. It's great in the summer on steak, great as a salad dressing. It's, phenomenal dish that we're known for. It's great. It holds well, and we've been putting them in these jars and kind of getting them out to people so they can, put on Facebook and Instagram what they're doing with it. Again, as we said, staying relevant.
That's really cool. So it stays dry the whole time, or is there a liquid put in that?
No. It's the three parts. It's parsley, oregano, and garlic, and then it's lime, vinegar. It goes in olive oil, almost like a pesto. And then that olive oil not only is flavor, but it helps, kind of preserve it, keep it
delicious.
So it's a wet application.
Okay.
Really cook with it. You put it on cooked food, cooked shrimp, cooked steak, chicken, things like that.
Beautiful. And then when you're done with it, you put it in one of those, what are those, like a 6-ounce glass? Show me that glass if you would.
Yeah, we just got these little mason
Look at
jars
that,
that we
nice.
pick up in town, and it's a simple dish. I could almost really probably finish the whole thing right now.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
It was the 3-part parsley. It was a 1 part oregano.
Mm-hmm.
Garlic went in already. I think it was 5 cloves. Fair amount of crushed red pepper, salt.
Beautiful. Good work on the camera, Claire.
It's my cameraman, Claire, camera woman doing a good job.
Great job.
And the only thing I have to go find, Kevin, is some apple cider vinegar.
It's probably a small dose of that, right? Because it's usually pretty bitter. I know they say that's good to have every day in some way, form, or another.
Yeah, so it's just a little. I feel like it helps just release everything in there.
And
that's really it. We just finish it with a lot of olive oil.
Okay.
Because it seems to really kind of suck it up. And as I said, that kind of helps preserve it. People have pesto or make pesto. They know they always want it kind of covered in olive oil.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Wow.
That's about it.
Yeah, that brings it alive. Wow.
6-ingredient thing, and that'll last, a month in the fridge easily.
So the amount that you're making now, is that a mini amount just to show us today, or are you usually making a lot more of that because you're filling all those jars?
Yeah, we usually make more than that. I've tried to make this in mass quantity, and it's a lot of work because I haven't figured out how to do this in a blender or a Vitamix or something and keep it nice and vibrant like this. So, yeah, when we do it in the summer, we're probably making a gallon at a time, something like that. For now, we're just doing a few jars every time.
Would this be appropriate to put on fish?
Be great on fish. A couple of people who picked it up this week, they got fluke from their dragger friend, and they did it on fluke. They just baked it in the oven, hit it with the chimichurri, little breadcrumb when it came out, and that was it. Yeah. So yeah, it's great on that. Great.
Real nice. I'm glad we got that. Absolutely perfect. Thank you to your wife on the camera, Chef.
All right.
Stay well, stay safe, and have a good class tonight. Thank you again.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're always welcome. Take care.
Take care.